Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday night Loving Kindness class here online at the Dharma Bum Temple, or from the Dharma Bum Temple. If this is your first time here, or even if it's not, say hi. Say hi to Travis. He's manning the computer right now. You can see all your comments. My name is Alex. It's wonderful to be here with you. I love each and every one of you. I'm so happy that you're here. And I'm so grateful that I get to be able to lead this class today. I've been thinking about, if you saw the announcement on Facebook about this class, I posted something that I've been talking about the last couple of weeks, just a little bit. And it's a quote from Pema Chodron who says, "Never underestimate our low tolerance for discomfort." Never underestimate our low tolerance for discomfort. And that is something that we can all definitely relate to here, as now we're in, it's been, I think, 40 days now, about something like that, 6 weeks, a little under that. I actually think it'll be 6 weeks on Friday or something like that. That we've been in this quarantine, and people are getting a little antsy, and they've watched all of Netflix, they've watched all of Hulu, they've watched all of Amazon Prime, and it's they've binged pretty much everything they think they can binge, and read all of the books and all that. They've baked all of the cookies, and it's still a struggle, and I get that, and I understand that. A lot of people have died. A lot of people have lost their jobs. A lot of people have lost their health insurance. These are serious things. And so I'm grateful that we have this practice of loving kindness, so that we have really an effective way of dealing with this, how this affects our own heart, and how we can be kinder and gentler people who are suffering as well. One of the things that these protests, and there's been a lot of protests recently, and like I said before, a lot of people are getting antsy, and a lot more dissatisfied, uncomfortable. Suffering is really starting to set in. It reminded me, and I just thought of this just before this class started, as I was sitting here, and one of the things, one of my teachers is Tom Jeff. He's up at Mission at Meta Forest Monastery up in Valley Center, and he's this great, wise monk. He's been a monk for well over 40 years now, and a question that he always gets, or I think he probably always gets, is, what's it like to be a monk, and celibacy? Celibacy, that's like a big question. Like, you can't have sex ever for your entire life. And when people think about that, they start to kind of project that on themselves, right? Just get all just like, oh no, I couldn't do that. And he goes, you know what? I never thought about what I was missing or what I couldn't do. I only thought about what I was getting. What do I get out of this? I get peace. I get freedom from suffering. I get freedom from, lust, which is a big cause of suffering. And so I get freedom from that. And that brings a lot of happiness. We may not think so as lay people and sexual beings, but when he said that, I thought, wow, that's really, really wise. And I was sitting here, I thought we can apply this to, coronavirus too, and this lockdown that we're facing. Everyone's saying, I can't do this, and 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 getting really bent out of shape and suffering a lot and getting really dissatisfied about all the things that we can't do. I can't do this. I can't go to the park, or whatever it is. And maybe it's time to focus on what we can do. What can we do? Well, You can, depending on where you are, you can still take a drive close to your neighborhood, I think. You can still go for a walk. You can still do so many other things and walk your dog. You can still call your friends. You can still have Zoom meetings. You can still do so many things. It isn't as bad as you think it is. And if we can reflect on all of the things, one, that we can do, and two, if we can reflect on why we're doing this. Why are we in this lockdown? So if you're in this lockdown and you're stuck at home or you're stuck in your apartment, what's the benefit of that? What good are you bringing into the world? Well, you're probably saving lives. You're preventing people from getting infected or possibly getting infected. I mean, just that in itself is goodness, is virtue. And these are things that are causes for happiness, per the Buddha. And so this is a thing to think about. There's so many things you can do, and even though it's dissatisfying, you're doing this for a reason, and these are really good and noble reasons you're doing this for. And so I'm grateful every day that I get to do this. And I know, like I said before, it's easier for me than for some other people. I'm a natural introvert. I spend, even in a non-lockdown environment, I spend 95% of my time by myself. And so I'm used to this. And so this is from just the lockdown part, the quarantine part. This isn't stressful for me. And I'm grateful for that. But I know for almost everyone else, it's really stressful. I have a lot of empathy for that. So these are some of the things that we can do. All right. So let's do some loving kindness. All right. Why don't we do that? So the word that we're talking about in Buddhism is called metta. And metta, it's an ancient word from Pali, which is a language we think that the Buddha spoke, or pretty close to what the Buddha spoke. And as in a lot of ancient languages, one word means a lot of things when translated into English. And so it can mean loving kindness, unconditional friendliness, and goodwill. And it's simply a wish to be happy, a wish for our own happiness, and a wish for others to be happy, and a wish for others to do the things that cause happiness. And the things that cause happiness, what we're talking about specifically, is our positive and well-intentioned words, thoughts, and deeds. Right? Our words, thoughts, and deeds. So the way that we do it, we're going to do it you could do it a couple of different ways. I'm going to give you the opportunity to either repeat phrases of loving kindness, or if you don't want to do that, just radiate loving kindness from your heart to your intended target. And that's going to be wonderful. Either way, just do what's comfortable for you. One of the things that we do in loving kindness meditation is we try to develop this attitude of no struggle. Right? So we don't want to struggle with our seated posture. We don't want to struggle with thoughts going on in our mind. We don't want to struggle with anything. We can, hopefully just relax into the meditation. If you need to move. If you feel uncomfortable, you can open your eyes. You can take a deep breath. You can stretch in the middle of the meditation, and then you can just sit back down and start again. All of that is completely acceptable. My pajamas. My pajamas for today they're deer. I don't know if you can see them. These are deer. And it says, trophy husband. Right, trophy husband, my former career goal. Not anymore. That's okay. They're really comfortable though. I like these ones. And they have pockets. So that's good. So I reflect on my comfortable pajamas. Hopefully you're in something comfortable too. Pajamas would be nice. But anything that's loose fitting and kind of comfortable will do. Your seated position. So you just want to make sure that if you're seated on a cushion, that your hips are higher than your legs. And so I have this nice kind of solid tripod position here. I try not to touch my face. It's really hard. Your back. If you remember anything, just keep your back nice and straight. So I like to make my back super duper straight and just kind of relaxed. So my core is still somewhat engaged, but my shoulders are dropped. The head is nice and straight, maybe tucking the chin under just a little. If you want to, extending the spine. That's your hands can be anywhere that's comfortable, and that's fine. So I put my hands on my legs or in my lap, and I just kind of alternate them sometimes. And the eyes, you can close your eyes, you can open your eyes, you can half close your eyes, looking 45 degrees down past your nose in this kind of soft, unfocused gaze, like you see in a lot of the Buddhist paintings and statuary. The Buddha is often depicted with this kind of soft, unfocused gaze with his eyes kind of half closed like that. But you can do whatever comfortable, all right? As we get more uncomfortable with this lockdown situation, it's really important that we find moments of loving kindness for ourselves and find moments of loving kindness for others, so that we don't get caught up in all this suffering that's going on. So, did I say I love you guys? I did say I love you guys. Well, I love you again, all right? So we can do this. So let's get my handy dandy timer. Here we go. Okay. Oh, and before we start, also really quickly, before we start, say to yourself, what do I want to ask when it comes to the Q&A time after the meditation? I'm going to talk a little bit, but not too much. And then I'm going to ask for questions. And it can be questions about what I talked about, if questions about anything else. So it could be like even an AMA, like an Ask Me Anything. So think about that just before you start meditating, and then in the reflection time just after the meditation, just ask yourself, hey, what did I want to ask? And just type it into the box, and Travis will read it to me, and we'll have a discussion on it. All right. Here we go. And so just allow your eyes to close. And when we sit like a Buddha. We can even imagine ourselves as a Buddha sitting underneath the Bodhi tree of enlightenment, purifying our own heart, purifying our own mind. Making sure that you have that position, that seated position that's nice and comfortable for you and sustainable, so you're not likely to move around too much. So at first, just pay a gentle attention to the breath. Focusing your breath at the base of the nostrils, feeling the air go in and out as you breathe. Or focusing on the belly or the chest, feeling its expansion and contraction as you breathe. Maybe even taking a deep breath all the way in and all the way out. Not forcing the breath, letting it be quite easy and quite natural at first. So just for the next few moments, just rest as gently as you can before we start our meditation on loving kindness and the sensations of the breath. And now, whereas before I said, let's just let the breath be quite easy and quite natural. Now for the rest of the meditation, just always ask yourself, what kind of breath would be good right now? Am I a little anxious and maybe I need to take some deeper breaths? Or maybe I need to take some shallower breaths to calm the mind and the body. So whatever you need to do to relax the mind and relax the body, take that breath. So to begin our meditation on loving kindness, we're going to start with our benefactor. And a benefactor is someone who has shown us great love and great kindness. Someone where when you think of them, it's just really, your heart just expands and gets warmer. You think, oh yeah, and these wonderful, good, juicy, wonderful feelings for them just kind of naturally emanate from your heart. And you can picture them in your mind, and you can start to repeat phrases for them, phrases like, may you be happy, and say their name. May you be safe from inner and outer danger. May you be well in body and mind. May you be at peace and live at ease in this world. And you can either repeat those phrases, one or more of those phrases, or you can just imagine yourself radiating a beam of loving kindness from your heart to theirs. And you can even place your hand over your heart and smile while you do so. Smiling helps warm the heart. And you can do this for one or more people. You can do this for whether they're living or not living. It doesn't matter. Just for the next few moments, we'll do this practice of loving kindness for our benefactor. And now just to shift our focus a little bit from doing this practice for a benefactor to now imagining our benefactor doing this practice for us. There are so many people who love you. And I think that you would be astonished if you really realized how much they loved you. And so now we're going to imagine our benefactor doing this practice for us. And sometimes it helps just to put your hand over your heart and imagine your benefactor smiling and either saying these phrases for you, the same phrases. May you be happy, say your name, and on and on. Or you could just imagine them shooting a beam of loving kindness from their heart to yours. And while you do this practice, this part of the practice, just notice, is there any resistance in your own heart? Saying, no, I can't let this in. You can even say, I let this in. I accept this. Smiling still helps. So just for the next few moments, we'll imagine our benefactor doing this practice for us. And we're going to practice accepting this. And now we can take the time to now do this practice for ourselves. If you have your hand over your heart, it's best to keep it there. And gently just repeat these phrases to yourself. May I be happy. May I be safe from inner and outer danger. May I be well. in body and mind. May I be at peace and live at ease in this world. Taking whatever breath you need to take to calm the body and calm the mind. Feeling for any resistance in your heart. Gently even thinking in the background, I can let this in. I can let this in. So we'll do this practice for ourselves for the next few moments. And finally, we've generated so much loving kindness. So now we can give this away, and we can do this practice for either all beings in all directions, a specific group of beings, like all of the healthcare professionals that are on the front lines fighting this virus, putting their lives in dangers for our well-being, for the loved ones of people who are ill or have died from this virus, or any group of people who you can think or you think could use some thoughts of loving kindness. And you can dedicate this practice to. We'll do this just for the next few minutes, just to end this practice. So just open your eyes when you're ready and take the next moment or two out in silence as you stretch your arms and you stretch your legs. Hopefully keeping those thoughts of loving kindness about you. Ask yourself if there's a question you'd like to ask. Type it into the box. We'll talk about it. I'm always interested to hear either what your questions are or what your experience of meditation is. Even more so now that this quarantine and lockdown has been extended. Really interesting to know. Whatever your experience is, just your experience, and there's no wrong answers there. So, your experience fascinates me and it interests me, and so whatever you want to share is perfectly fine. But next minute or so, let's just have a little bit of silence. And so, before we get to any questions you might have, one of the things that this lockdown forces us to discover and forces us to contemplate, and because it's right there, is, how good a company are we? Are we good company for ourselves? Since we're locked down and we have to just sit there and do nothing, do we keep good company for ourselves so that we don't get antsy and bent out of shape and dissatisfied and suffering a lot? Earlier I said that this was relatively easy for me, and the reason is because from a very young age, I was alone by myself, as were a lot of Gen X kids. But, from 6 until, probably my 40s, something like that. And it wasn't always easy. There was a lot of pain and there was a lot of suffering there, because, I felt very lonely and I just wanted to connect, but I didn't know a good way to do it because I was a really shy person. And so over the last, 40 years or so, I've learned how to be really good company for myself. And so that sitting inside and, being by myself for long periods of time is easy. It's easy for me. And, the reasons were, it was very painful, but I know that for so many of us, being locked down inside, all we want to do is escape. All we want to do is escape. We want to escape and we want to go to Best Buy. We want to escape and go to the beach. We want to escape and go hug somebody. We want to escape and go to the movies. We want to escape and go to the store. We want to escape, and do all these different things without a mask and without all this virus nonsense going on. And, I think it's really important. We have this wonderful opportunity to learn to be really good company for ourselves. In this lockdown, we have this opportunity just to sit and notice all the different times we feel anxious. Then what do? When you feel anxious and you want to do something and you can't do it, what do? Do you binge something else? Do you watch like the fifth episode in a row of Breaking Bad? Or some other TV show? Do you go to the refrigerator? Do you bake cookies? Do you have sex with your partner? Do you have sex with yourself? What do you do when you're just sitting there and you feel uncomfortable and you feel dissatisfied and you feel antsy and you have to move and you have to get out and you want to escape? What do? It's really important. It's really important to notice. And it's really important just to stop and just think. You don't even have to sit in formal meditation. You just have to sit there and go, oh, I'm feeling this way. I'm at my edge again and I just want to move and I just want to escape. And then how does that feel in your body? Does it feel, are you shaking? Is it like a tension, somewhere in your body? Is there any kind of discomfort anywhere? So where is that? And what can you do when you find that's going on in your body? Can you, instead of taking like the usual step, right, of distracting yourself in some way, can you just sit there and say, oh, yeah, and take a deep breath, take several deep breaths, and say to yourself, that's okay. It's okay to just sit here. So if you can do that until it passes, until this discomfort passes, you'll feel a lot better. A lot better. And it's going to come over and over and over again. Because that's just the wonderful thing about this lockdown. These thoughts come over and over and over. And so you have this wonderful opportunity to practice. And so how are you going to do that? All right. So hopefully, we have some questions we can answer for you.
Rose had shared, I've noticed myself getting anxious over interpersonal communication, whereas before I wasn't so worried.
I'm not exactly sure, Rose, what you mean by that. If you mean that, because now we're just kind of forced into Zoom meetings or like phone calls or FaceTime, or do you have anxiousness over what you say, or that you can't meet face to face, that you can't talk to somebody face to face, and you don't know how that's going to translate into something more electronic or whatever that is?
She responded, I tend to overthink everything I'm saying via video versus in person. It was much more easy.
Ah, okay. Yeah, because you can't see them face to face always. Right, can you? Yeah, and it's almost like that, because you can't see them face to face, I wonder if there's like some like added uncertainty there because of that medium, because it's not face to face. I'm facing Travis right now, right? And so, but if I was looking at him via a Zoom meeting or whatever, that probably would be a little different, wouldn't it? but they're the same person there. It's just how you're talking to them is just a little bit different. And I'm wondering if, you can't just, because I don't know if you do a lot of these types of meetings and things like that. Zoom meetings. I haven't done one. I do one daily, because I still have my job and I still work from home, and I have a conference call every day at 1. Not a Zoom meeting. It's just a conference call. And to be perfectly honest, I don't know if I would necessarily like a Zoom meeting. I mean, I had a telemedicine appointment, and I'm looking at my doctor, and it seemed to be fine for me. But I'm wondering if you could just if you feel that kind of anxiousness when you're on these meetings, can you just take a couple of deep breaths? And if you're feeling anxious that you're going to say the wrong thing, it's best just not to say anything if you can do it, or at least err on the side of caution. But yeah, I would imagine that it does make communication different, certainly. And different for some people can make you a little bit more anxious. So always breathe.
David asked, what is the Heart Sutra?
So, the Heart Sutra, David, is an incredibly short sutra. You could read it in about 30 seconds. It is the, crucial text in the Mahayana tradition. That's not my tradition, so I can't tell you too much about it. What I can tell you, though, is it's supposed to contain all of the Buddhist teachings in one sutra. And that's what they think, and that's their strategy for it. And even though the sutra is very short, it takes a very short time to read it. Tons of books have been written on it. It's that profound. You don't have to have a super long sutra to have the teaching be profound and meaningful. It's incredibly short. And if I could read it to you if we had the time. Oh, we do, but I don't have it with me. Yeah, so that's the Heart Sutra. It's primarily Mahayana in nature. You should read it. It'll take you all of like 30 seconds or a minute, and but then the commentaries on it will take you a lifetime.
Another question here is, does meditating make you feel more confident?
Does meditating make you feel more confident? I think one of the benefits of meditation is it can certainly make you feel calmer so that you're less anxious. And in that, reduction of anxiousness, are you more confident? Probably. I mean, I certainly would be. I mean, I remember the times when I've had these wonderful either experiences in meditation or how I feel after meditation. Because a lot of times, like after meditation, in meditation, when my head and the thoughts subside, my brain just goes into problem-solving mode sometimes. It's like, oh, I have the answers to all these questions that I had. But I had this answer all the time. It was just clouded over with all these thoughts and all this anxiety. And once you remove that, which you can do with meditation, yeah, absolutely. You can feel a lot more confident because you have the answer all the time.
Lewis asked, I've always wondered what it would be like to be a monastic. can we use this time in isolation to get a taste for such a practice?
Yes.
And if so, how would one do so?
Well, of course you can, absolutely. And people do this all the time. Lay people do this all the time, where they will just self-isolate, and they won't watch TV, and they won't listen to the radio, and they won't do any of these things that we distract ourselves with, and they will act like it's a retreat. So they will go and they will sit in meditation, and they will get up, and then maybe they'll just do a walking meditation, and then a sitting meditation, and a walking meditation, and then maybe they'll do mindful eating, because you have to eat still, you have to eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then maybe they'll do some work around their house, like chores. Like today I cleaned the bathroom. There's a bathroom downstairs, right by the kitchen, and I took everything out of the bathroom, and I did it very, very slowly. I made that a meditation, and then I cleaned everything, and that was a meditation, and then I put everything back, and that was a meditation. So yeah, absolutely, and so you can be creative, but this is just one of the ways that you can certainly do it yourself at home. Well, guys, I love you all very much. I'm so happy that we got to spend this time together. Let's try to learn to be really good company for ourselves. Let's try to focus on the positives about what we can do during this lockdown time. We can meditate. We can go into retreat. We can be grateful for what we're doing because it's saving lives. And we'll see you next time. Thank you guys so much.